What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Pet Shop Boys, and we're returning for another bonus tune included in the expanded folder for the 1993 album Very. Thank you as always to Seb. And the next track is apparently the B-side of the Liberation single, and that is Decadence. I've reacted to a Duran Duran tune by this name, though I'm expecting no relation. But yes, it refers to an immoral, not just amoral, but immoral attitude, a unsavory appetite or other crass pursuit, and thus it sounds like a critique, it sounds like a negative appraisal. Now, it is the kind of word that you might use, maybe not ironically, but in the opposite meaning that you would expect, saying like, oh, well, see, I'm very much decadent, I'm into things which are darker or underground, and thus it would be less of an overt critique and more the idea that you're expressing your attitude or appreciation that is different from or opposite to the majority of the population. So I feel like there are scenarios I can conceive where it wouldn't be as critical or negative as it sounds, but let's see what I can catch on the first listen. This is Decadence by the Pet Shop Boys, which apparently was the B-side for the Liberation single. flourish and conclusion. So yeah, I'd like first of all, Neil's vocals sound like he's essentially doing a falsetto voice here. I mean, he has sort of a high voice in the grand scheme of vocals that I've heard, but here it seems like he's pushing it even higher and again almost going into like a falsetto type delivery. And lyrically, it sounds more or less like what I was thinking, a castigation, a criticism of another person's immorality or crass perceptions and pursuits or priorities, again, prioritizing money rather than real love, which is, of course, rather funny. And, I'm immediately thinking of opportunities, like, let's make lots of money. And even though that obviously has some cheekiness to it, this is a song seemingly, coming at concepts of authenticity of emotion from a very different angle. But ultimately, it also sounds like the narrator is speaking from a point of understanding that, like, look, I know what this leads to. So someone who's maybe gone down a decadent path before and thus is, through, not projection, what's the right word? Like, if you identify a characteristic or a behavior in someone else and you have a very visceral negative response because you yourself have gone through that struggle or know the consequences of it, it might hit you especially, or hit you with a lot of annoyance because, again, it's not just like, oh, I don't like what they're doing. It's like, I don't like what they're doing and it makes me think about parts of myself that I don't like or that I've had to deal with, and I know what can happen because of. So it feels like there's a bit of that in the narrator's criticism of this other person, but it also sounds like it is an appeal, a desire for someone to turn to a better emotional framework and to come back into the fold and maybe even a relationship. So yes, it's someone who still cares and they're issuing a plea to the other person not to descend into decadence is what it sounds like. Sonically, it's really fascinating because it feels in one sense like it has a very mellow, smooth vibe to it, and indeed the acoustic guitar definitely gives it that atmosphere, and there's, a light pop feel to it, so in some ways it has a bit of a Neil sound, but it almost seemed like it was a modern take on some gothic type stylings, because the bass was a bit heavier, there was some like melodic ambiguity to it, meaning it just had a feel of a darker, shadowy type of track, but put within a brighter, more smooth setting. So I don't know if other people will hear that, but yeah, it sounded like if you mixed a smooth, poppy Pet Shop Boys tune with something that was a bit heavier and gothic, and the result is something that sort of, set off different parts of my brain in terms of the interpretation of the musical atmosphere. There was an echoic, jazzy sting that came around a couple times. I enjoyed that. As I said, the bass had a bit of heft or weight to it. So yeah, really interesting composition. Curious to hear what other people have to think about this one. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Peace.